If you look at some professional rock climbers' hands, they're insane. So I decided to do rock climbing training using at-home rock climbing equipment to see if I could further stimulate the growth of my hands, wrists, and forearms. Would I make some rock solid gains, or would I hit rock bottom soreness? Let's find out, but you gotta focus. Now, if you look up basic training for rock climbing, you will frequently find main exercises being basic calisthenics, which makes complete sense. So what better than for my first workout? Bodyweight Beast 2.0. However, in replace of pull-ups, I use these circular ball holds by Atomic Climbing. C-spot run. With some climbing rope and some carabiners I already had from a previous experiment making those tree branch grips, I rigged together a simple system to be able to use these ball grips around some form of a pull-up bar. It was a nice day, so I decided to train outside and actually use an old soccer net frame to attach the grips to. Oh, man. So I started with a very basic workout from phase 1, doing push-ups supersetted with pull-ups, but doing the pull-ups on the Atomic Climbing ball grips. And yes, I had chalk. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I have been slacking on other forms of grip training due to all of the vertical jump training, and man, this first set of pull-ups really shocked me. Also, after the winter bulk being significantly heavier than I was the last time I did a grip or hanging challenge with the hands and arms, I could really feel the extra weight. In fact, I was intending to do 3 sets of pull-ups on the circle ball grips, but I actually had to break it up into 5 sets of pull-ups in order to get enough reps in because my grip was giving out so prematurely. I was only getting like half the amount of pull-ups, so I did a couple more sets. I feel like I have like a wrist pump. Before I move on to another exercise, I'm gonna try to do a Ninja Warrior swing. See how far I can get. After finishing up my final set on the ball holds, I finished up the rest of the other exercises in the workout. And then I decided I would just go back and do a max hold on the ball grips, which to my disappointment was pretty humbling, and I only lasted 20 seconds. 20 seconds? Oh man, my hands are so fatigued I can't take this down. Just those 5 sets of pull-ups and that max hang attempt had my grip so fatigued I could barely take this equipment back down. Let me also tell you, one of the nastiest forearm pumps I've had in a while. It's like nasty. And just from that, you could see the stimulation already presenting itself in my hands. Hands are like fried. And this was only day 1. Forgive the mess. Look at it, it's got like cobwebs on it. Oh man, it's heavy. Atomic Climbing holds. There's a few things in here. Huh. I thought it was just one thing. Alright. Yes, so over a year ago, I was planning on making this video, but things happened and I never got to making it. However, I purchased a ton of rock climbing holds that were sitting in the garage unopened in their original packaging. But now because I'm making this video, I'm finally opening it. The only issue was my forearms and hands were so sore, I wasn't able to just muscle through the tape like I usually do when it comes to opening packages. What? Oh my gosh. Don't drop that on your toe. Boom. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna borrow this carabiner rope thing. Just like that. Dude, that is heavy. Look at that. Oh. Oh man, that's so man, it's like I would dive into this more, but my hands and wrists are so fried right now from yesterday. But that's not to say today will go to waste, because I am compiling some new training equipment, this ball thing right here, and also I am going to now attempt to build myself a hangboard. So when I was planning to make this video some months ago, over a year ago actually, I bought these rock climbing grips right here. But as you can see, they've never actually been hooked to anything because I never made the video, I never used them. Anyways, there's something called a hangboard that rock climbers used to train on, like in the house and stuff, where it's just like a board and it has grips on them, or it has like holes in them that simulate grips. And you know, I don't feel like spending any more money right now, to be honest with you. So I'm going to attempt to use these and some old boards if I can find any, and build myself a hangboard for rock climbing. So trying not to spend any money, I started by finding an old plank in the garage. This is all I got. It'll have to do. Wiping it down because it was nasty, but that wasn't good enough, so I decided to create a whole layer over the entire thing using Gorilla Tape, which actually looked pretty cool when it was finished. I'm literally just gonna send it. Yo, are these screws too long? Like, is that gonna go? Frick, I think that's gonna come out the other side. Pilot holes. Yeah, right. Using bolts probably would have been ideal, but I didn't have the right size. Also, these screws were a little too long and maybe a little too wide, but I sent it anyways, and it worked. Oh! Jeez! That's like a medieval thing. Alright, we're gonna have to take care of that somehow. So to deal with the consequences of using screws that were too long, I just took some pliers and broke the ends off. But there was still some screw left, so I tried to file it down. That wasn't working too well. Then I resorted to the last resort, which is just cover it with Gorilla Tape. Never fails. Where? Like right there? Does that sound good? Yeah. Man, that worked good. So I drilled 2 holes on each side of my hangboard. Wow, perfect, bro. Strung through some leftover climbing rope that I had from a previous experiment, tied the loop and clamped on some carabiners. And just like that, I thought it was complete. So I looped together 2 more climbing ropes, put some carabiners on them, and looped those ropes through themselves on my pull-up bar. Then I clipped on my homemade hangboard and gave it a try. Oh, dude, it leans forward. It's insane. It kind of leans forward. How can I fix that? My dad got me these bolts a long time ago as a gift. In an attempt to try to fix the lean forward problem of my hangboard, I replaced the rope looping through the hangboard with a bolt so that I could put the attaching carabiner to the front of the bolt, lining up the force with my fingers. And what do you know, the physics of that idea actually worked. The only problem was the carabiners were a little bit too big for the bolt heads and my hangboard would fall off when you'd let go. It might very well be my lucky day. But what do you know, my dad had given me washers that fit these bolts. Thanks, Dad. Check this out. These washers are just big enough to slip in, shimmy in sideways here, and then stay in like that when they hang. That's incredible. So yeah, I can just quickly like pop this thing on and off. There it is. So look, now when I grab, the force is at the front, so it'll stay pretty much straight up and down. But yeah, when I let go, it leans back now. Boom. So there we go, day 2, 2 new pieces of equipment, a giant ball hold and a homemade custom hangboard. Now the next challenge would be putting this to the test and trying to get an effective grip pounding, forearm blasting, wrist girth increasing, hand thrashing rock climbing workout. So I was looking up some more rock climbing exercises and I found another common theme aside from just pulling motions, obviously, is core work, like lever, tuck lever, stuff like that. So I'm trying to find a day here where I can incorporate some of that like core action into some of the holds. So we're gonna do a variation of either day 17 or day 18 in Bodyweight Beast 2.0. Oh, man. So after a quick warm up to prime the grip, I actually started by jumping into 3 sets of decline push-ups. Well, might as well put this to use. What a mess. Anyways, for this day in Bodyweight Beast 2.0, this second exercise called for pull-ups that I replaced by doing crunch pull-ups engaging the core on the atomic bowling ball grip. Let me tell you, when it comes to that hand and wrist stimulation, this was it. Now, while I was only able to get away with 5 crunch pull-ups per set, my grip actually felt significantly stronger than day 1, as in I felt like I was already making adaptations. The next exercise, jumping right into tucked lever holds on the bowling ball size grip. However, me slacking on calisthenics recently, this was extremely difficult, and I was barely able to hit 10 seconds for my multiple sets. Man. Oh yeah! Yeah! So yeah, I tried to do some more pull-ups on the hangboard, but dang, the fingers. Jeez. Should rename this the finger flattener. So I ended up doing just some hangs for time on the homemade hangboard, and still, let me tell you, like, it just felt like it was crushing my fingernails. Gosh. So I'm actually skipping the leg portion today. That's because I'm gonna do legs tomorrow and I'm planning to do it a little bit differently than what's in this program right here. My review on my equipment. So the ball, I love it. I am feeling like that wrist girthifying grip mode, you know what I mean? When I'm grabbing onto this thing with every pull-up. It was too hard to get more than 5, so I actually had to break up my pull-ups into 6 sets to hit the recommended number of pull-ups in the program here. Now for the homemade hangboard, this thing kind of sucks. Not that it wasn't holding up to the test, it's just these grips are so small that like my fingers feel like they're getting like just pinched. Like the first thing to give out isn't my grip, it's the pain in my fingernails. But maybe that's just toughening me up another way. Maybe that's gonna help our fingers be more stimulated. But so far for today, the best feeling thing is actually this atomic super cherry ball grip, whatever the heck it's called. Anyways, I did say tomorrow I'm training legs, but I still wanna throw in some rock climbing variations to that. I've got some crazy ideas in my head. I have a fear that I might be looked at, but oh well. Hands feel grittier, wrist feels pumped, fingers are burning. Rock climbing. Looking for a 12-week calisthenics program that's bodyweight training? Check out Bodyweight Beast 2.0. OnlyKindsFitness.com. Use code FOCUS for 25% off hard copies and or digital downloads. On days 4 and 5, I wanted to do some classical in the gym bro workouts, but utilize my circular rock climbing grip to hopefully further stimulate the hands, wrists, and forearms. Training lower body on day 4, starting with some sled pulls, but using the ball grips to pull the sled. Now, depending on the way the balls were held, the difficulty was either great or very easy. Now, obviously, I tried to hold them the more difficult way, that is, not wrapping my fingers around them, but using more of a pinching technique to hopefully stimulate the fingers, palms, and hand muscles. Way more so grip than legs. Yeah, even though it was leg day, I was feeling mostly grip. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so trying to get a little more leg action, I decided to incorporate some walking lunges, but trying to utilize the ball grips to hold the dumbbells. And my hack job on setting this up made the dumbbells hang too low, and well, I ended up just looking like that guy in the gym. Luckily, the gym wasn't crowded. Now that was it for the grips on this day, but I did finish up with some box jump variations. Yo, for real guys, I gotta show you this. Look at that. Does that look swole to you? I feel like the padding is hypertrophic, if that's even a word, but it looks so much thicker. Hands looking severely thicker, I was feeling pretty good. The only downside I was noticing on day 5, I was starting to get clumsy, probably from being so fatigued in the grip, but I was getting obsessed with the idea of my hands growing, so I decided to incorporate more rock climbing grip training, but into an upper body gym bro style workout. How, you ask? Let's find out. What the heck? Starting with T-bar rows, wrapping the grips around the handle. It actually worked pretty good. Now, depending on the style of the machine, it was hard to get the grips to work properly. That's not doing anything. So some exercises were best done without, but one that really stood out for being effective at challenging the grip but also hitting the targeted muscle groups, tricep push downs or pull downs, depending at how I had my hand placed on the grips. I actually felt this in my triceps extremely well. In fact, maybe even better than the standard rope for tricep push downs. This also felt very effective for overhead extensions as well. One thing was for certain, it was a good workout. So riding this wave of success, I decided to keep it going. What on earth am I thinking? Training another day of grip consecutively? And what's with the beanie, bro? I'm getting serious. I decided I wanted to do another lower body day. This time I wanted to utilize the atomic bowling ball sized hold to try to do these lower body lifts. Starting with deadlifts, as you can see, getting things balanced was an issue, but nothing a little Gorilla Tape couldn't solve. Should work. Yeah! Now, going in with the idea of this being a lower body workout, it turned into pretty much a grip workout. The deadlift, when my back is feeling good, is actually my strongest lift. I could deadlift a lot more than this, but limiting myself to this rock climbing hold. In fact, after only 5 working sets, my grip was so fried, I had to call it a day. I mean, just trying to get this tape off the bar was like painful. Now, already having worked out 4 days in a row and my hands getting more sore than ever, it would have probably been a smart idea to call it here. So I was contemplating about taking today off, but then I figured, you know what? No. Oh crap, that is actually hard. A final fill in the blank day. Whatever I could do to try to get my hands, wrists, and forearms stimulated to maximize those results. Starting with cable curls using the atomic bowling ball grip, then doing gauntlet squats using the bowling ball grip, all while keeping my hands and fingers to the side of the ball so I'm not just lifting right underneath. That way I'm maximizing the amount. I'm trying to squeeze this thing and hold on to it, blasting the grip until I'm absolutely too fatigued to hold on anymore. Then really working the fingers with those homemade hangboard pull-ups. Oh, they're like flat. They're like flat fingers. And finally, very important, giving it everything I had left, squeezing with all my might, finishing up with hangs for time. I have a cold sweat right now. My hands are killing me. But you know what? I think we did it. So I'm gonna take tomorrow off. Oh, they're beat. How do we look? Whoa. My hand is like fried. Honestly, this hand's pretty fried too. Like holding up this phone right now is quite the task. But like my right one specifically in the thumb region right here, like that's me trying to open it. Oh man. Oh, it's cramping. Whoa. Ah. Dude, it's like season up, you know what I'm saying? I think I overdid it maybe. But anyways, I'm taking tomorrow off and then hopefully that's enough. So maybe 5 days in a row was too much. My right hand, specifically around the thumb region, was like aching. In fact, it was hard to open my thumb all the way back up. Hoping this wouldn't mount into anything serious, I went through some of my basic recovery protocols and tried to rest up my best before I took results. One thing was for certain though, my hands looked meteor. I mean, seriously, just look at this. But would it actually equate to a real significant differences? Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to look at the comparison results. Okay, first of all, some visual comparisons. Starting with the forearms. In my opinion, side by side, the afters look significantly more grainy. And I know I did shave in the afters, but if you look past that, in my opinion, it looks like there are definite gains to my forearm definition. Now for the measurements of the forearm, I was getting the same results. However, my wrist measurements, I actually was getting slightly bigger in the afters. 17.5 centimeters on the right. Solid 18 centimeters on the left. 18 centimeters. I want to say like 18.25 centimeters. Yeah, that's pretty tight on my wrist. Now when looking at the side-by-side comparisons of my hands, the craziest notable gains were actually made in that thumb pad region of the hand. Now also harder to see, but from my perspective, it felt like my fingers were thicker. But yeah, you can really see that thumb pad hypertrophy if I turn my hands sideways. Look at that. What? Now another thing to note is I was also a pound down, so getting a little bit leaner while still making hand and forearm gains. Yeah. So after 1 week of utilizing rock climbing holds in various exercises, in my opinion, I can see some results. The biggest place I can see it, to my surprise actually, is in the thumb padding. Like seriously, I am seeing almost more stimulation, maybe even more stimulation than what I saw in the thumb training video for like an entire month. It looks to me like my thumb region is so puffed up right now that it's just like, dang bro. Now another thing I did notice more subtly though, my fingers do seem more gritty or like more rough. Like you can definitely see how the rough grip stimulated the fingers. However, it wasn't to the extent I expected. I expected, honestly, my hands to be a lot more rough at this point in time. But yeah, to my surprise, the thumb, it seems like it got the most stimulation out of this experiment. Maybe from all of those holds like this, I was really utilizing the thumb, which is great to know because honestly, I feel like the thumb gets so often neglected when it comes to classical weight training. I don't know, if you're a rock climber out there, how important is the thumb to you? Like, let me know, because in my opinion, I think the thumb could be super important for actually rock climbing. I'm sorry that I didn't actually do any rock climbing in this video, but like I said in the beginning, that wasn't the point. The point is to utilize the rock climbing grips, these synthetic grips, throughout various exercises to see if I could get some kind of crazy hand stimulation and get those rock climbing looking hands. I think it worked to some extent, but I think there might be some more to explore here. In fact, I am wondering now, based on my previous experience, if I utilized wood grips on basically every exercise for a week or so. Based on my experience with these, utilizing these, really getting that more natural earthy grit into the hands and fingers, like there's almost like this like sawdust that comes off, and I feel like that, as silly as it sounds, stimulates the hand in some just like earthy, gritty way that might go above and beyond the gains that I got in this experiment. And I have used these in the past for the bigger hand training video, but that was almost like 2 years ago now. And yeah, I've been using these on and off, and I felt like they've always helped keep my hands stimulated. But what if I pushed it to the max with these and just more other wood in various forms of grip for weightlifting, calisthenics, etc. Now, if you guys are wondering, this part of my hand right here that's really sore, it's actually still a little sore if I push it, if I rub it, if I try to open my hand all the way, but it is getting better. I'd say it's 85% better. In fact, maybe like one more day, and I think I won't even notice it anymore. And then I'll probably get started on this wood grip experiment, so stay tuned for that. Let me know if you guys experimented, played around with rock climbing grips, because dang, like the soreness that I experienced in the hand, it was so sickly, like just, ugh, you know what I mean? I just want to know what you guys think about that. How'd you guys like my home setup, my little hangboard that I made here? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you all have a great day. Stay tuned. More videos coming out. Peace. I will see you all in the